Mm-hmm. I was just surprised when you came by the bank. Especially because you've been ignoring my calls.
Sabrina,
Just let me finish. What you saw with Amani is not what it looked like.
Okay, folks. Now, I was reading the comments on the video I posted yesterday about season 8 and how I think it's like just confusing and, it's shock and no substance, consequences, no accountability. And it's doing pretty well, probably because this is the first video I posted in like 2 or 3 days. But yeah, it's gotten over 20 comments so far, at least at the time of recording this video. And I was reading through them, and yeah, everybody agrees with me on how this season is a mess. And keep in mind, this one particular video was mainly focused on episode 19, but I loved how the comments stem from various other portions of season 8, along with elements of season 7. Now, this particular video is a companion piece to the comments on this video. A couple people were like, well, Jeremy, I see what you're saying. I agree that what Sabrina did was cold. I mean, yeah, it was her choice to go ahead and approve Damani's sperm. But at the same time, the way she just dropped that bomb on Rich was kind of messed up. But other people in the comments were like, hey, but Jeremy, the first thing Sabrina said was, I'm surprised, you've been ignoring my calls. So how is it possible for her to be open and talk to Rich when he's been ignoring her calls? Now, I went back and listened to the scene. I completely forgot about that part. But here's the thing I did catch. She said, I'm surprised you came by the bank since you've been ignoring my calls. And then she tries to explain the Damani situation and that it wasn't what it looked like. Now, when she says, come by the bank, I believe she's referring to the second time. Because remember, he showed up to the bank and Damani was there. And of course, we know that was about the summit thing that's going on with the bank. And Sabrina was asked to represent the branch. He automatically assumed it had to do with the sperm, and then he got in a huff and left. Then he went back to the juice bar. Jordan cooled him off, and then, he eventually went back again. So I'm guessing that between the time he left the first time, or when he left the bank the first time, and when he showed up last week, she attempted to calling then, but he wouldn't answer. This could explain her pissy mood over the past couple of episodes. So it seems that the decision she made to call the clinic happened, I want to be completely honest here. It either happened between when he came by the bank the second time and when they ended up at the dinner table. Because I think that after the conversation, she vented to Pam, who wasn't paying attention, even though Sabrina said it did help her calm down. She then, vented to Paige as well. And look, please forgive me if I'm wrong about this, but I think based off her outfit, isn't this the same dress she was wearing when she got summoned to the Sister Circle meeting, and then Marie told her about, God, man's rejections, God protection and whatnot, and basically all these women to choose yourself above anything else. I'm guessing this could be, that's what a lot of people said. Episode 19 was about these women putting into motion what Marie told them to do. But I think that the ignored calls thing, that could have also been a catalyst. Like, here's my question. Even if Sabrina, or even if Rich did answer the phone, like, what would that have changed? Would that have changed anything? Would Sabrina have, would she have told Rich over the phone about the decision, and basically that would have canceled the dinner, or what? I'm just kind of surprised. And yeah, she did get embarrassed at her job. I'm not going to lie. It really was embarrassing. And look, I'm not saying one is better than the other, but let's not act like Maurice doesn't embarrass Sabrina at the job all the time. And I know, look, I know you're probably like, Jeremy, come on. It's like, why do you got to throw Maurice under the bus? And I'm like, well, here's the thing, though, because I'm really looking at this from a different angle. When you look at how Sabrina does manipulate and use these men and seemingly looks for any reason to let them go. Now, to be completely honest, I think to some extent, well, actually a lot of extent, there's more of a reason for Sabrina to end things with Rich than there was for Bio, because like I said, she looks for any reason to use these men to help him out or help her out. Like in Bio's case, it was getting Maurice out of jail. With Rich, it was to be her baby daddy. Well, since his sperm is invalid, and I guess you could say that in a way, despite with his sperms not being eligible donors, it's almost like Sabrina has no reason for Rich at this point, because she did everything she could to push him in the direction of wanting to be the father of her children. But then after learning his sperm possibly carried the sickle cell trait, it's like, I'll go with Damani. So there's really no need for him to be around. So she's probably just going to kick him to the curb. And like I said, yeah, he did embarrass her at the job, basically, you know, throwing a tantrum in front of her, well, superior, being the PR rep at the bank's corporate division. So yeah, it looks bad. But then on top of that, you know, like I said with Maurice, how often is he vulgar and disrespectful, especially to those in power? Because this man has tried to openly flirt with Damani on multiple occasions. And it's like, that's a bad look for Sabrina, considering she's the manager of the freaking bank. And that's one of her employees. So what kind of circus is she running around here? But Maurice can do no wrong. Sabrina might get stern with him once every 3 seasons, but that's it. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Rich was ignoring calls, but number one, I think Sabrina's mind was made up regardless. And number two, I don't know how most people feel, but sometimes maybe it's better to avoid phone calls and say something you'll regret than I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Communication is key. It truly is. But sometimes it's best to let things kind of cool off. Because, like I said, you want to make sure you're in a position where you are speaking for the sake of love and understanding than anger, pain, and hurting someone who hurt you. So that's all I got to say about that. I don't know how many of y'all do this, but sometimes I still find myself guilty of the double, triple text, even though it's like, man, just stop. Don't embarrass yourself. But like if I call somebody about something important and they ignore it, sometimes I'll be like, well, fine then. But either leave a voicemail or send a text or what. Basically, what I'm going to do in a situation like that, if somebody's like giving me the cold shoulder, but there's something I need to tell them, and I could say, yeah, I called, but you ignored it, but I'll text or leave a voicemail at the very least. So, you know, if push come to shove and there's something I might have, you know, gave you the heads up for, and then you get mad at me for not saying anything, like, hey, first of all, you ignored my call. Secondly, I left a voice. Look, I treat it like, you know, like you know, any sort of business that's like a bill collection company, whether it be credit card or, you know, I don't know, some other sort of bill you have. It's like, or, hey, you know, I tried to reach out to you and I got the time. I got a screenshot showing I called. I sent you an email. I sent you a message. Blah, 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 blah. That way, when shit hits the fan, don't come looking at me with an attitude when you're the one who didn't respond after I tried multiple times. So that's just how I look at it. But I think that Sabrina was like, hey, I called. And look, she says calls, but we don't know how many times she called. That's all I'm saying. But then again, you could argue that, well, Jeremy, maybe her funky disposition was like every time she tried to call Rich off screen and didn't get an answer. No answer was an answer. But that's when she decided to choose her because, I don't know. But then again, hey, let me know your thoughts. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.